I always knew I was adopted. My father, James Richardson, never hid that fact from me. What my sister Catherine didn't know was that being adopted wasn't the only secret in our family. I'm Emma Chin, and at 32, I became the CEO of Richardson Global Enterprises, a fact that sent my sister into a very public meltdown. But let me start from the beginning. Dad adopted me when I was 6 after my biological parents died in a car accident in Hong Kong. He was there closing a business deal and visited the orphanage as part of his charitable works. Something about the quiet Asian girl reading advanced mathematics books in the corner caught his attention. 3 months later, I had a new home, a new sister, and a father who saw something in me that would change both our lives. Catherine, 2 years older than me, never accepted my presence. Where Dad saw potential, she saw competition. While I was diving into business books and learning about investments, she was focused on being the perfect socialite, the natural heir to the Richardson name. Blood will always matter more than paper, she'd say when Dad wasn't around. What none of them knew was that Dad had been preparing me to take over his company since I was 12. Those weren't just casual conversations about business over breakfast. They were carefully planned lessons. The summer internships weren't just to keep me busy. They were training grounds. By the time I finished my MBA, I knew every aspect of Richardson Global Enterprises intimately. Dad kept my training secret, not out of shame, but strategy. The business world is like a chess game, Emma, he'd tell me. The best moves are the ones your opponents don't see coming. Catherine married Trevor Williams, heir to a banking fortune, in what society pages called the merger of the decade. The fact that Trevor's bank was secretly struggling under bad investments wasn't public knowledge yet. But Dad and I knew. We'd been quietly buying up their debt through shell companies for months. When Dad was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, he called me to his study one night. "It's time," he said, handing me a thick envelope. "Everything's prepared. Just remember what I taught you. Patience is the deadliest weapon in business." He died 3 weeks later. The funeral was exactly as Catherine wanted it, lavish, public, and designed to emphasize her position as the grieving daughter. I sat quietly in the back, as she'd instructed. "No need to confuse people about your place in the family," she'd said with a cold smile. After the service, during the reception at our family estate, Catherine made her move. She clinked her glass for attention, her black designer dress perfectly coordinating with her crocodile tears. "I want to thank everyone for coming to honor my father," she began, emphasizing the my. Family meant everything to him, and as his only true child, I know he'd want us to be honest today. She turned to me, her smile razor sharp. "Emma, dear, I think it's time we stopped pretending. You were a charity case, a tax write-off Dad's accountant suggested. You're not real family, and it's time for you to go." The room fell silent. 200 of New York's elite waited for my response. Trevor smirked beside his wife, probably already spending the inheritance in his head. I stood slowly, straightened my simple black dress, and smiled. "Of course, Catherine. You're right, we should stop pretending." I walked to the door, then turned back. "See you at the will reading." "Don't bother," she called after me. "Dad's lawyers already confirmed everything goes to his real heir." I just smiled again. "We'll see." 2 days later, in the Richardson Global Enterprises main conference room, Catherine's perfect world imploded. "This is the last will and testament of James Patrick Richardson," the lawyer began. Catherine sat at the head of the table, already holding a pen to sign the transfer papers. "To my daughter Catherine," the lawyer read, "I leave the following. Your trust fund will continue untouched, providing you the same monthly allowance you currently receive." Catherine's smile faltered. "That's it. Where's the rest?" "To my daughter Emma," the lawyer continued, "I leave controlling interest in Richardson Global Enterprises, all associated companies, properties, and assets, effective immediately." The pen fell from Catherine's hand. "That's impossible. She's not even a Richardson." "Actually, I spoke for the first time. I am. Dad legally changed my name years ago, and I've been serving as the company's shadow CEO for the past 5 years." "No," Catherine whispered. "No, no, no." "Security," I pressed the intercom button. "Please escort Ms. Williams out of the building. Her access has been revoked." As security approached, Catherine knocked over her chair. "You can't do this. I'm his real daughter." "Being real family," I said quietly, "isn't about blood, Catherine. It's about trust, loyalty, and vision." Dad understood that. "I'm sorry you never did." "I'll fight this," she screamed as security led her out. "You'll never get away with stealing my birthright." I sat down in the CEO's chair, My chair. Actually, I already have. The real war, I knew, was just beginning. But Dad had taught me well, and I had plans Catherine couldn't even imagine. As her screams echoed down the hallway, I opened my laptop and began the changes that would reshape the Richardson empire. Starting with the Williams family bank. Catherine's meltdown hit social media before she even reached her car. Someone in the conference room had recorded her screaming about her fake sister stealing her birthright, and the video spread like wildfire. Within hours, hashtag Richardson drama was trending, with people divided between supporting the rightful blood heir and the secret CEO's sister. I watched it unfold from Dad's old office, my office now, while signing the papers that would begin Catherine's financial ruin. She'd made her choice at the funeral. Now she'd learned why Dad had always said I was the better strategist. Her first move came the next morning, a lawsuit challenging the will, claiming I'd manipulated our father during his illness. Her lawyers filed emergency papers to freeze the company's assets. I'd been expecting this. In fact, I counted on it. Release the documents, I instructed my legal team. Within hours, every major news outlet received copies of my official adoption papers. My legal name changed to Emma Richardson Chin. And most devastatingly, video recordings of Dad explaining his succession choice. He'd made them during his last months, knowing Catherine would challenge the will. I choose Emma, he said in the video, looking directly at the camera, not because Catherine is inadequate, but because Emma is exceptional. She's been running this company in shadow for 5 years, turning record profits while her sister was planning charity galas. Blood doesn't make a CEO, vision does. Catherine's lawsuit was dismissed within days. But I wasn't done. Remember those shell companies buying up Williams' bank debt? The day after Catherine's lawsuit failed, Richardson Global called in all the loans. Trevor's family bank, already struggling, faced immediate bankruptcy. Catherine showed up at my office, her designer outfit slightly wrinkled. A telling detail for someone who'd never had a hair out of place. "You vindictive bitch," she spat. "You're destroying Trevor's family." I looked up from my computer. "Actually, you did that when you kicked me out of Dad's funeral. Actions have consequences, Catherine. Dad taught us that, remember? Well, one of us was paying attention. He was my father. He was our father. But while you were playing society princess, I was learning to run his empire. Did you really think those summer internships were just to keep me busy? That all those breakfast meetings were just casual conversations?" Her face paled. "Those were training sessions. Every single one. Dad knew who he wanted as his successor by the time I was 12. The adoption, the name change, the secret training. It was all part of his plan. You could have been part of it too, if you'd ever shown any interest in anything beyond your trust fund. I'll tell everyone," she threatened, "about how you manipulated him, turned him against his real daughter." "Go ahead," I interrupted, turning my laptop to show her the screen. "These are the records of every transaction from your trust fund for the past 5 years. The private shopping sprees disguised as charity donations. The business meetings that were actually spa days. Oh, and let's not forget the interesting transfers to Trevor's personal account. The ones that started right after you discovered his bank was failing." She sank into a chair. "How did you? I told you. I've been running this company for 5 years. Did you think I wouldn't monitor the trust funds? Dad knew about all of it. He just wanted to see if he'd ever come clean." The next phase of my plan unfolded over the following weeks. As Williams' bank collapsed, Richardson Global swooped in to save it, at the cost of Trevor's family losing control. Catherine and Trevor were forced to sell their mansion, their cars, their vacation homes. Their society friends disappeared as quickly as their wealth. Funny how that happens. But the real twist came during the shareholders' meeting 3 months later. As I presented the company's record profits under my official leadership, Catherine made one last desperate play. She burst into the meeting, waving papers. "I have proof," she screamed. "Proof that she's been manipulating company funds." Security moved to remove her, but I held up my hand. Let her speak. The documents she brought were actually plans I'd leaked through a carefully chosen channel, plans showing massive transfers of company funds. What Catherine hadn't realized was that they were records of her own embezzlement, done through proxy accounts she thought were untraceable. "These transfers," she announced triumphantly, "prove that Emma has been stealing from the company." "Interesting," I replied calmly, because those transfers aligned perfectly with deposits made to these accounts. I projected a new set of documents on the screen. Accounts registered to Catherine Williams and Trevor Williams. The room erupted in chaos. Catherine's face went from triumphant to horrified as she realized she'd just publicly implicated herself in financial fraud. He set me up, she whispered. No, Catherine, you set yourself up. I just made sure everyone could see it. The SEC investigation was brief but thorough. Catherine and Trevor were indicted on multiple counts of financial fraud. Their remaining assets were frozen. The trust fund, their last financial lifeline, was suspended pending criminal investigation. Dad would have appreciated the symmetry. The sister who'd relied on blood ties losing everything to the sister who learned strategy. 1 year later, I sat in my office reviewing the latest acquisition proposals. Richardson Global had doubled in size under my leadership, expanding into new markets while maintaining the ethical business practices Dad had valued. My phone buzzed with a news alert. Catherine had taken a plea deal. 2 years in a minimum security prison, followed by 5 years of probation. Trevor had fled to a non-extradition country, leaving her to face the charges alone. I picked up the photo on my desk. Dad and me at my college graduation, both of us smiling, sharing a secret the world wouldn't understand for years. You were right, Dad, I whispered. Patience is the deadliest weapon. A notification popped up on my screen. Catherine's auction house was selling her remaining possessions to pay legal fees. Among the items, a family photo album listed as Richardson Family Memories. I bought it anonymously and had it delivered to her prison cell with a note. Blood isn't what makes a family. Trust is. You never understood the difference. The media eventually moved on to other scandals, other family dramas. Richardson Global continued to thrive, its adopted CEO becoming known for both business acumen and philanthropic work, particularly supporting adoption agencies and educational programs for orphan children. Every year, on Dad's birthday, I visit his grave alone. I leave 2 things, fresh flowers and a copy of the company's annual report. Last year, I added a 3rd item, a newspaper clipping about Catherine's sentence with a simple note. You taught me well, Dad. The best moves really are the ones they never see coming. Catherine gets out of prison next year. Her trust fund is gone. Her society friends have forgotten her. And her husband is sipping cocktails somewhere without an extradition treaty. Me? I'm in Dad's old office, my office, planning the company's next expansion. There's a new photo on my desk now, next to the graduation picture. Me with a group of business students I mentor. All of them adopted. All of them learning what Dad taught me. That family isn't about blood. It's about choice. And sometimes the family you choose is better than the family you're born into. Just ask Catherine. I'm sure she has plenty of time to think about that now.